going to turn this whole thing around right now, and we're just going to get right into it. This week was interesting. It kind of started off for me with a lovely celebrity video. I don't even know, like, I quite honestly don't understand the point of this. Kristen Bell, a famous actress, I believe, from, was that Forgetting Sarah Marshall and a bunch of other stupid. It's actually a funny movie. I will give credit where it is due. It is a funny movie, but she decided to, bless us all with her take on her privilege and how she handles it with her children.
I'm gonna open up another tab and go to IMDb because I know her. I covered this as well on my show, but I know her single thing that she's been in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and do what you gotta do.
IMDb. She decided to open up to us and again to discuss her how she approaches privilege with her children, and it was cringy to watch. I mean, because she's a massively successful movie star. She's got lots of money, and it's one of those things that I feel like these celebrities just talk because they're trying to score points with their audience, and like, I don't want to be. They don't want to be eaten by their own kind. It would seem, and I don't know. It was really weird. There's a part here where I kind of want to play a little smidgen of it because it was just so funny to hear her say, like, I try to tell my kids that I don't, we have a lot of money, but I don't want to give them a bunch of things. I'm like, shut up. It's not like you're giving away all your money to people. Like, if you were so noble, if you believe that you were so privileged, you would take all this money that you have and start dispersing it equally among those who are unfortunate, right? Like, why aren't you creating this kiosk on the corner in the hood and handing out money to all these people?
That
video was so weird. Like,
I
everything she
disagree a little, honestly.
Well, what she says or with what you said?
Well, a little bit of both. All the way up until she starts talking about race, I kind of understand what she's going for.
Same.
You have a lot of money and stuff, don't really put or instill in their children the fact that they actually have to work for and all that. So on one hand, I find the idea she acknowledges that to be somewhat commendable.
Yes.
I find it a little weird, but that she's so talks about it so much, perhaps, I guess is the way to put it.
Right.
But,
virtue signals.
Yeah, that.
Well, that's how it comes across. I mean, at least from someone like me, I just immediately thought, like, what provoked this? It's just one of those things. Like, I think we talked about a couple of weeks ago when it came to Disney putting out the message about standing with, like, young trans kids. It's like, you mean all you're doing is saying, like, we just want to respect people, and it's like, is it necessary to announce that to everyone?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like that's one of the reasons why, like, if ever there's a situation like this where someone goes and tells people, hey, I have this kind of notoriety as far as like finances go or something, like, because I'm not going to sit here and say privilege. She obviously worked to get to where she is. Right. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, she's privileged. She worked to get to where she is. So, like, she had an opportunity, she took it, and now she is where she is. It's less pandering, not pandering, but virtue signaling. Excuse me. Like, there's no reason to virtue signal if you want to do something good. Just do something good. Like,
yes,
this is something that from myself, for example, like, not even to sit here and virtue signal or anything like that. There's a vet. I was leaving out of Target one day, and there was a vet. I just did like a $20 withdrawal because I think I went to go get, like, I don't know, a Twix and something to drink just to get a withdrawal. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take this $20 and use this for coffee for the rest of the week. And I'm driving out of the parking lot, and there's this vet there with a sign. I stopped the car, pulled the wallet out, gave him the 20, and just kept going. I was like, whatever. I mean, it is what it is, kind of thing. It's like, I don't have to go out of my way. I'm not going out of my way to say, hey guys, I help people. Like, I just do it. And the same thing, like, for example, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves doesn't go out and tell people, hey, I'm going to go help these people. I'm going to go give people this money, this, that, and the other. He just does it. Other people might talk about it, but he says, well, I mean, I just do. And it is
Yeah.
what it is. You don't have to go out of your way to tell people, hey, I am a good person. Just be a good person.
Right. It's like those like TikToks that you'll see where it's like someone like doing a whole video about giving someone money. Can't you just do that? Like what, like you're trying to like it's a better thing to do. It's just like if you really want to help someone, just help someone. Like you're trying to get like clicks and likes off of something that maybe you should just do, like, or
Right.
it's just weird. And even like people do it even on the other side of things where they'll see like a bad situation happening and they'll, rather than like maybe step in and help, they'll film it and then post it like they're being noble or anything. It's like if you really cared about what's going on, put the camera down and
just
genuinely help someone, because what you're doing is you're looking for something in return for that good deed or for that, not stepping in or whatever. So yeah, and I agree. Like I think the better message, kind of like what you're saying, is rather than talk about like, oh, we're privileged, isn't the better message to say to your kids, I worked my ass off for years. Your dad worked his ass off for years, putting in time, auditioning, whatever, and we finally made it, and we saved our money, and we were able to give you guys a great life, and we try and give back when we can. Like why is it this like, woe is me? Like we have to somehow play this weird victim role, and because of that, we have to, you know what I mean? Like we have to acknowledge it. It's just weird.
It's just the way that it's phrased. Like, yeah, and I do agree with Amorata and saying that like the literal first half of this video is like, I understand the message. It's the way that it's phrased though, it just seems kind of weird. It's just like, like I kind of have to comment on, oh, well, why don't we, instead of looking at it like this, it's this. And it's like, well, I mean, that's a weird way of phrasing it kind of thing. But then like, halfway through the video is when it opens up to like what you would assume, because it's the latter half, is the ulterior motive of the video. It's just like, see, I knew that there was some kind of intent behind it that was less of just being a decent person and more of, trying to gain some kind of virtue points.
Right.
Not even necessarily woke points, just virtue points.
Yeah. I'm just disturbed by this, this culture of like self-flagellation that specifically white people are doing, because some sect of the population is saying that you have to pay for the sins of your fathers and your forefathers and all that. And this just seems like another attempt at that. Like, well, I think the intent was good, and I think she'll probably raise good kids. You just can't help but eye roll at some of the stuff she had to say. And I'm just like, well, we get it, but maybe the better message is to, be a good person.
Right.
We had a comment here. I'd still have people showing their good deeds rather than tearing someone else down. Positive media is still positive, even if the intentions are selfishly selfless. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, it's still like, I can't really blame those like TikToks where people go and they essentially set someone up to be greedy, but if they don't, then they'll hand them like another $500 or $1,000, and like those are good because you are essentially trying to, like, they're trying to show the good in like people who are homeless a lot of times, where they might, like, hey, do you have like $10 you could spare? Like, can I have a bite of your food? And the homeless guy will give him a bite, and then the guy hands him like $500 or goes and takes him to get him a sandwich or a haircut or whatever. And like those, at the end of the day, those are really good, and they do show the good in humanity. I will be slightly critical. It's like, well, he is filming it. Like, why can't he just do it? But I think in this age where we have so much social media and we have the ability to reach people across oceans and continents, like, it's good to share that stuff and show the good in the world, because otherwise we might not be able to see it.
Right.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I've also had enough of a lot of these celebrities just being like, I'm a normal person. I'm like, we gotcha.
The funny thing about that is there are plenty of celebrities out there that are just normal people. And like the thing that makes them normal people is that they don't go out of their way to prove that they're normal. Like, they don't have to Mark Zuckerberg their way through a conversation. Like, I was talking with Amorata about this. Like, Michael Cera, he had a kid recently. Most people are just like, oh, I didn't even know he was in a relationship. Yeah, no, he's married.
I didn't even know he was an adult.
Right.
Right. Like he's married, he has a kid, and it's just like that's how I prefer people, like especially when it comes to celebrities. If you're a celebrity, your job is to just entertain for the most part. If you're a music artist, you sing, you rap or whatever. If you're an actor, you act and stuff like that. I don't need to know about your personal life.
Right.
I mean, if we were cool people, sure, but like I don't need to know about your personal life. Just do you. And then, you know, the news finds out, or news comes out later, hey, they had a kid or something like that. It's like, oh, you don't have to do anything extra.
Yeah. There's funny because for a long time I worked in the restaurant industry, and I worked at this really cool resort in Hawaii, and we'd get lots of actors and actresses who would come in, and one in particular, I'm looking up his name right now, Bruce McGill. Bruce McGill, he would come in a lot with his just by himself with his family, like with his wife. He was good friends with my general manager, and Bruce McGill. He plays. He's a character actor. He's in a lot of films that you've seen, and in the one I always remember though is My Cousin Vinny. He plays the sheriff in My Cousin Vinny. Like I said, he's in a lot of things that you would just recognize, but he's such a normal person. Like he is the kind of celebrity that I want to hang out with and talk to, and I want to see like his thoughts on things. Because I mean, him and I would just talk at the bar a lot of times, and he would go golfing with like our GM or whatever. But yeah, he would just have a good, like normal conversation with you, and not be pretentious, and not seem like, oh, you were beneath him. Like the exact opposite of a lot of the celebrities that we see talk, you know, on the news or like, you know, on Twitter and stuff like that. So I just wish they were more like that.